if I didn't start something, I ain't afraid to finish it. Already been through hell and back, but I'd go back to visit if it was the only way that I could keep living limitless. You're now tuned in to the Living Limitless podcast. So without further ado, here's your host and my dog, Clint Riggin.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Living Limitless podcast. I am your host, Clint Riggin, and I just realized that this podcast intro still has Limitless coaching on it, which we're going to talk about today, which is absolutely crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, who I have in front of me today has seen the journey of me when I was in fitness coaching. He was a client of mine. I've seen his journey with bringing God into his life, and what he's doing now is truly incredible. Matthew Roda, welcome, my friend.
Thanks, man. I was going to say the same thing about that intro. I was like, geez, man, I just lifted like an hour ago, but I want to go back out to my gym and just like throw weights around after watching. That was a little different vibe than I was expecting.
Dude, you know what I love about you too? Like, you don't need that much of you don't need that much equipment. Like, you have the minimal dumbbells, you got a rack, you got some bands, and like, you just make it work.
Yeah. I mean, I miss the gym occasionally because of all the options.
Right.
But I've got 4 little kids, and 9 times out of 10, when the weather's nice, they're out there in the gym on the driveway, hanging out with me, mimicking what I do. And I'm like, I would never go back to a gym for as long as my kids want to be part of this journey with me. So it's an easy trade-off.
Dude, that's so beautiful. Oh, man, I love hearing that. Yeah. You see me looking at my phone. I'm just trying to get us live on Facebook real fast.
Oh, you're good, brother.
So we can have the whole world hear how God is working in your life. And where I want to start is kind of where we met, where you were doing something totally different, but actually, well, you're doing the same thing, but you were with your brother, right?
Correct.
Like you're partnered with your brother.
Yep.
And if you want to get in that story, you can, about how you started this company, and then God shifted your vision and where you were going. But when we met, you were crushing it, dude. You were doing great things. You became a client of Limitless coaching, almost said Limitless faith. And you knew me during my phases of egotistical, like we spoke about this for a second, where, I was like, I have 8% body fat. I need to be 7%. I'm the best in the world. So talk to me about your journey. I really want the audience to know like where you came from and like where you're going now.
Yeah, man. Where do I start? Yeah. So I'll summarize my childhood in a few sentences. I was an athlete. I was a team captain. Then I got to high school, and I'll summarize high school and college in a couple quick sentences. I turned my back for the most part on sports and fitness and God at that point, and went into drugs and selling drugs and taking all the drugs you can imagine. Spent about 20 years in that space, and addiction was real. And by the grace of God, I was able to like kick addiction when I really wanted to. So I never had to like struggle my way. I mean, I struggled, but like I didn't have to go to rehab and like do all the stuff that a lot of people have to do to really get off all the stuff that I was on. And then I met my wife, my early 30s, 33, 34. And she basically gave me an ultimatum, which she's one of my guardian angels, because she was like, it's me or the drugs. Like, I'm not going to be in your life if you want to have drugs as part of it. And at that point, I had known for a long time I did not want like to be led by drugs, but I just wasn't strong enough, didn't have a big enough reason to stop. And I didn't have an identity outside of it. So I just stayed hooked into that world. When she gave me that ultimatum, I gave my last bag of weed to my cousin that night and was like, all right, I'm done. And I was done then, and I've been done since then. I replaced that addiction though, which I kind of got the gist of it, but I really didn't accept and embrace that. I switched my addiction for all those things for 25 years, whatever, with addiction for fitness.
Oh, yeah.
So then it went to 5Ks, to half marathons, to 50Ks, to 50 milers, to 100Ks. And that's when I came to you, like I was running those races. Yeah.
50 miles. I was like, what? You're 50 miles.
Yeah. And it was the same, like it was like you said in that one sentence in the early on here, it was like, I'm at 8.2%. Like I do my check-in tomorrow. I'm at 8.3. Like I failed yesterday. What did I do wrong? Now I'm at 7.9. That's a win. And I stayed in that cycle for years. And I remember quite often Helen, when I would do 75 hard, I did like 75 hard, took a week off, did 75 hard again. Like I was go in that space. And she said a couple of times, she's like, you're addicted to fitness. And the point of my life where I was when she said that, my response was, and I felt good saying this because I didn't have the depth to understand the magnitude of what she was sharing with me or the change that I could experience was, well, better addicted to fitness and health and nutrition than drugs, right? Like my response was, if I have to pick one or the other, wouldn't you rather me choose fitness and health? Because like, I'm healthy, I look good, like, and I'm not addicted to drugs. Like it's a win, right? Yeah. And she never pushed me or never pressed me harder on it besides just dropping that like nugget of wisdom into me. And fast forward a couple years, I stayed addicted to fitness and I did that whole, dog and pony show for a long time. And I hired a coach and I went to a retreat at her farm. Shout out to Lisa Marie Platsky. She's one of my other guardian angels walking this earth.
She was my first coach.
Yeah, dude. She's very one of my guardian angels.
The thing about it is, like, and Lisa, if you're listening to this, I've already apologized to you. And I was not in the space or the season to hire her. Right. Yeah. Like I had the money to hire her, but I didn't have the mindset to hire her.
Yep.
Like
it's very little to do with money, man. Yeah.
Because she is like, I remember when she sent me an email one time and she said, Clint, I gotta speak to God and see if this is the right decision. And I was like, you got to speak to who?
Yep. I hear that weekly. Yep.
Yeah. And I see you doing the walks.
Yeah.
God where you go and you walk and you see and you look.
Invite like, in. Yep.
God, what is God trying to show me?
Yep.
And I understand it all now.
Yeah.
But like I love that you're coaching with her.
Yeah. Helen changed my life, and then Lisa Marie came in and changed my life in a very pivotal moment. She helped me with the transition, which if we get into that, great, from my old marketing company to my new marketing company. But on the first retreat, I think it was day 2, I was in tears on her front porch on a swing with a group of people that were part of the retreat. And I had to admit to myself and other people that I was addicted to fitness because I was addicted to basically. So I mentioned sports athlete, team captain. Yeah. I was praised at a young age for that. Then I went to drugs and I was like criticism and disappointment was like thrown my way, and not harshly, but I felt it because obviously I deserved it. Yeah. So then when I gave that up, I wanted to go back to my youth and get that praise and that recognition. So I did it from a place of I can be the most shredded 38-year-old. I can have all the abs. So it was like every day or every other day there was shirtless pics. It was like doing 75 hard again. Like I was seeking validation from everyone because I didn't have inner fulfillment.
Dude, we used to compete against each other with those pictures. I remember. You're killing it, bro.
Yeah. And I loved posting them and I loved the comments and I loved everybody to be like, you're a savage and you're the most shredded dude I know. And it was just like, yeah, I am. And I needed that because there was like a bbig hole in me that I didn't realize existed and I didn't know how to fill it with anything else. Yeah. So I shared when I got home that retreat, I was like, I'll maybe never, but like I haven't since, and that's almost a year now. Like I won't be sharing more shirtless photos. Like I don't need that validation from other people. And probably like 6 months or a year to hiring Lisa Marie, I had started to establish a relationship with God by reading the Bible every day. That's a long story how I reconnected with God. That led me to reconnecting with Jesus. And since then, I just like fulfillment comes from a holistic, peaceful place. And I don't need the likes. I don't need you're the most this or that. Like I am who I am and I'm here to serve and I'm here to like bring recognition to that guy for what he's done for me. And outside of that, like I don't need anything else really.
That's beautiful. All right. Well, listen, we got time. So I want to hear how you reconnected with God. Like what was that moment for you? And I say that because for me, I woke up super early all the time.
Yeah.
But I started to wake up at 3 a.m. and go and say, like, go read scripture and go read the Bible. That wasn't normal for me.
Yeah.
But there was something that told me, like, Clint, you need to read this. You need to read this. And it wasn't scripture that I was reading. The scripture was reading through me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you read scripture and you're like, wow, this was meant for me.
Yep.
What was your experience?
Yeah, so I'll give a shout out to Dustin Johnson. I had a podcast, like I was a host of my own podcast for a year or whatever, and he was one of my guests. And towards the end of it, he said something about like, I talk to, or like I build my relationship with God like on a daily basis. I talk with Jesus on a daily basis, something like that. And I was like, what does that mean? You talk to God, or like you talk to Jesus.
Yeah.
And he explained it to me, and it made a huge impact on me, because what I realized, like growing up, I was born and raised Catholic. So we were at church every week, holy days of obligation. I was an altar boy. So it was very much like, it was a structured lifestyle to maintain like Christianity and being a good Catholic. And it never resonated with me from like if you miss church on Sunday, you might go to hell. I'm like, well, if I'm a good person, like what difference does it make? Right. So when I broke away from God and Jesus, I broke away from the structure of religion. Right. But I always believed, because of like my parents raised me wonderfully, and I'm super grateful for how they raised me with the faith that they did. I always believed there's a higher power. But for like, when I broke away from God and Jesus, it was like I started to say like, I believe in God, or like, thank you, God, for this happening. It was the universe. Like, thank you, universe, for making this happen. And like, I believe the universe has my back. So I've always had a connection to something greater, and I never lost that. But when Dustin Johnson said that, I was like, what does that mean? And he explained it to me. And I was like, all right. So it kind of sat with me for like, a couple of weeks, and it really just kind of like stayed there, nagged at me. And I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? Like, I want to reconnect with God, and I don't know how or why really, but I just know that I don't want it to be a one-way street, which is like, something's going wrong. Hey, God, can you help me? Like, I need you now. And that's the only time I'm going to tap into you. I wanted it to be like on a daily basis. I just wanted him to be up there and to see me down here with like my hands open and a door open, and be like, please come in as much as you can. So I started reading the Bible January 1st. I guess it was probably 2 years ago at this point. And I don't retain much of like what I read, especially if it's not like, so like you say in the scripture spoke to, like I love hearing that, but like when I read the Bible, like it's kind of like in one ear out the other. Right. And I remember reading 15, 20 minutes a day, the Bible every morning to start my morning, and really enjoying the routine of just, again, saying to God, like, I'm here, I'm making an effort. Like, I want you to know that I care. And at one point I started to kind of like beat myself up over it, because I'm like, I don't remember anything I'm reading. Like, and so then I had the thought of like, is this even worth it? And then immediately, which was a pivotal moment in my life, immediately it was just like, I kind of like put myself in God's seat for a second. I was like, is God up there like judging me that like I don't remember the words on paper? Or is God up there saying like, thank you, young man and son, for spending 15 or 20 minutes with me to start your day? Whether you're sitting there in silence, reading words and remembering it, reading words and not remembering, I don't really think he cared about that like detail of the piece of the puzzle. Yeah. So I found just peace of like, okay, wonderful. Like I could just be in his presence and know that like, that's my gesture of the door is wide open. Please come into my life. And even at that point, and we can get into this story too, at that point, I was still very skeptical of Jesus, because born and raised, like, is he part of the manipulation of religion versus religion? Was he created by the higher ups to divide and conquer? Like I had all that stuff swirling. And then the devil literally entered my home. I don't even know what it was at this point, 3-4 months ago. Like he showed himself to me. He was in my dream. I woke up, I saw him. And I asked a couple people that I'm really, really close with to pray for me that night, like in the middle of the night. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And we can get into that. But the point of like the Jesus connection and relationship that I've now built was that when I asked people to pray, I had so many people say like the blood of Christ, the blood of Jesus, like may it wash over you. No one was saying God. No one was saying I'm praying to God. It was every single person used the word Jesus and the person Jesus. And it was like, okay, I get it. I see it. And I remember talking to my good friend, Mark, who's a ex-pastor and still very, very, very holy man. And he was, and the story is crazy, but he was basically like, the devil's going to come after you because you have a relationship with God. And for about 12 hours, it scared the heebie-jeebies out of me, because like I felt the devil in my home, and it was just an awful experience. Yeah. But I was very, very grateful for the experience, because I was like, okay, like if you thought you were going to enter my home and like destroy me or tear me down or like get me off my path with God, like that just opened the door for people to bring Jesus into my life as well. So now I'm going to accept Jesus as like, and you can have all the doubts you want. Like I could still sit here with you today and be like, I don't know with 100% certainty. Like I don't think any of us can with unyielding certainty, but do you have the faith, and then do you practice it and believe in it? And I could say yes, yes, and yes. Yeah. And that moment in time was like, okay, I'm done questioning Jesus. Like, if I have a relationship with God, which I do, and I believe in God, which I do, why am I skipping the middleman, which is Jesus, which he put down here on earth for us to like connect with, so we can connect deeper to him? Like, who am I to think I could just go like, hey, it's Matthew, skip Jesus, go to God? Like, I want the whole spectrum of force of good in my life. So
right, dude, yeah. that is wild. So let me ask you, have you seen the Netflix episode Evil?
I've not.
Okay, so what you just described is in that actual show, and the devil comes in different ways in their sleep. Yeah. And let me ask you this: what did the devil look like?
So in my dream, he didn't have any like appearance. It was a feeling. It was a force. It was an energy. Yeah. And then when I woke up, and I actually, it's on my Facebook, I took a photo of. So we have Netflix or Prime or whatever, and like when you sign into like the account, it's like, are you Helen? Are you Caroline? So like, and then you filter like what you have access to. It's always just been like it's like the default icon, like a circle head with like it's nothing real. Yeah. And so I woke up, felt the devil around, was pinned to my bed, realized I needed to get out of the upstairs, especially out of my room, because I didn't want the devil's energy near my wife. So I went downstairs, I prayed, I cried, like I was in fear. I didn't want to look up because I could tell he was still here, and I didn't want to see him. And then I finally had the courage to like get out of like that prayer position and to like, kind of start my night at 2 or 3 a.m., whatever it was. And I turned on the TV to watch like a inspirational movie, because I just wanted to I did not want to go back to sleep, because I was like, I do not want to see that again or feel that again. So I was afraid to sleep. So I was like, I'll just put a movie on and chill out. I turned the TV on. I went to the home screen, and what does the devil look like? The way he presented himself to me that night was basically like a gargoyle icon on the homepage of our TV, which never was there before, but it was actually there earlier. So I have a couple minutes to share this entire story.
Yeah, bro, we got 45 more minutes.
It's insane, man. So my friend Mark, the pastor, he's been on this journey with me as I reconnected with God. He's helped me in a lot of ways. I talked to him Saturday morning. It's probably like 11 a.m. and we were just having like a faith talk. And he's like, bro, his exact words was like, the devil knows that you're doing God's work now, and he's going to come after you, and he's going to come after you hard. So be ready for it. And I was like, okay, well, like the devil's going to come after me. Okay, whatever that means. Early afternoon, mid-afternoon, I turned the TV on and I saw that gargoyle, and I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, click into my profile, on with my life. It didn't mean anything to me. And then fast forward through the day, fast forward through the night, fell asleep, woke up, and there he was again. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit. Like my friend, pardon my language, like my friend said he's going to come after me. He showed up in my house early afternoon. Then he waited for me to go to bed where he could really attack me. And now that I'm back awake in like the middle of the night, my family's sleeping, like, and I can feel his energy in my home. Like there he is, like staring me down, like face to face.
What time is this?
There's probably 2 a.m.-ish, 2:30 a.m.
So 3 to 6 a.m. is when spiritual warfare attacks us the most, because one, the devil knows that we're either going through depression, we're in our thoughts. There's no reason really to be awake at that time. Yeah. So the devil knows that, hey, you must be going through something in your life right now. Well, it's going to be real easy for me to come in and mess.
Easy access. Yeah, I believe it, dude. Yeah.
Yep. So you saw the gargoyle.
Yep.
And you prayed. Now, was the gargoyle gone?
Well, I mean, he was gone because I clicked out of it like right away and got to like the screen where like the movies were there. So like I didn't delete it. I didn't spend time like in that moment. I just needed him off my screen because I was like, I don't want to look at you like even for another second. Yeah. And then the next morning, maybe mid-morning or like early afternoon, when I asked my wife and my oldest daughter, Caroline, who like both use the TV and like know how to adjust things. I was like, did either one of you like change your profile icon like randomly? Like, and I knew they didn't, but I just wanted to I was like, please say yes. Like, please say it wasn't the devil. And they're like, they both were like dumbfounded, like, no, why? And I was like, okay. I was like, I didn't think anybody saying that. Like, I'm pretty sure that was like, I knew exactly who that was and why he was there. Yeah. So yeah, it was but that opened the door up to my relationship with Jesus. And like, wow. since then, my prayer life, my faith, like everything has just gotten 10 times stronger. So I kind of like, and I don't taunt the devil, because it's like, who wants to taunt the devil? Because I've said a couple of times, I'm like, haha, like you thought you were going to knock me down. You only made me 10 times stronger. And my friend Mark, he's like, bro, don't taunt the devil. I'm like, all right, you're right. Because the next day, what he said to me, which we have like St. Michael Angel in each one of our kids' rooms. Like we've taken some precautions and stuff. He said to me, he's like, he came after you. He knows you're like too strong. Like you're not going to be broken by him. The next thing he's going to do is come after the people you love the most, which is your wife and kids. So I was like, understood, like challenge accepted. So now, like, the shield of God, the shield of Jesus, like the guardian angels, like I pray them over our house and over my family constantly, because I know he's real. Like I don't want the devil to be real, but like it's obvious he's real, and it's obvious he can penetrate our reality when he wants, how he wants. Yeah. It's up to us to protect those that we love.
Wow, dude, that is so powerful. I didn't know any of this happened. Like, I mean, it's, you hear about stories like this, and you kind of think like, yeah, well, is this real, or is this something somebody's just making up? And then you probably, when you told your family, they're probably like, Dad, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean a gargoyle? Like,
yeah.
Wow, man. Well, hey, listen, I'm glad that you did what you needed to do, and I want to talk about your prayer life, because when you were growing up, you grew up Catholic, right? You were an altar boy. You went to church every Sunday. What I find is that, and this was me too, I didn't have a prayer life.
Same.
Right? I went to church on Sundays. I listened to the message. I received the message. Well, I thought I received the message. And then I listened to worship, and then I didn't live out anything that I learned.
Yep.
During my time in ministry and seminary school, I've learned that your true relationship with God is in your sacred time when nobody is around.
Yeah.
Right. Like your prayer time, when you're like truly like in the dark almost. It's called like dark work.
Yep.
Speak to the audience. What does that look like in your life?
Yeah, man. So for me, it's taken on quite an evolution, even in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So initially it was, okay, I want to pray every day. And like, I do my morning devotional. I do my like those kinds of things, but like just pure quiet time with God, prayer time. I would stretch every morning. I'd set my timer for 10 minutes. I would do like 6, 7, 8 minutes of stretching, and I'm breathing, and I'm like, okay, this is my time with God. And it was. And then at the end, like I'd roll over on my knees, I'd go down into prayer mode, and I pray for like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'd kind of like gratitude and like, show me what I'm meant to see, and keep hidden what I'm not meant to see. And that, like, it just like quiet, and like invite in whatever you wanted me to know. So it was like really 2 to 4 minutes of intentional prayer time per day. And it was still something, and it still felt good. So I was happy with it. And then I read a book, or I'm almost done with the book, called Lead by Prayer, Lead with Prayer. It's written kind of like, it's kind of got as a business connotation to it, but like, it's very much like prayer driven, like businesses that thrive on prayer, and not like Catholic businesses or Christian businesses, but business owners who are Christian, who use prayer to grow their for-profit businesses. And they were talking a lot about like how those successful businesses that have God infused in them make time throughout the day to pray, like as an organization and as the leaders of the organization. So I was reading that. I was like, okay, I want, not even I need, but like, I want to spend more undivided time with God on a daily basis. So now I still do my 10 minutes of stretching, but it's all stretching, and I don't count that as my prayer time. Then I do my morning routine, and then I have an office down here in my basement where I work. Before I get my day started, I light my candle back there. And I basically, like, I get down on my hands and knees and I pray for 10 minutes. Like it's just pure prayer time. And then that led to, okay, that's kind of easy. I say like air quotes, that's easy for me to do because I'm down here by myself. I haven't looked at my emails yet. No phone calls are happening. Like it's still kind of like the slow start to my day.
Yeah.
What does it look like to like stop midday and just turn all of it off and go back into prayer mode to reconnect with God halfway through the day? So now at 12 o'clock, my alarm goes off, and some days it's an immediate, like, close my computer, get down and pray. Other days it's like, oh, if I could just get this one task done first, and then like 40 minutes goes by and it's like, I still need to get my 10 minutes of prayer time. Today it was like 9 minutes of prayer right before a phone call because I was kind of pushing it. And so there's days where it's very easy for me to stop and get into prayer and spend time with God. And there's other days where I find myself prioritizing the tasks more than I prioritize time just with him, and like the void and like the fulfillment that comes with that. But what I'm doing is like I'm navigating that and getting better and better at it. And it's the intentional time. And then at the end of the day, I've said for like a year, you know, all 4 kids get to bed by 8-ish. Helen and I hang out, you know, on the couch. I work, she watches TV, or we read, or we talk, or whatever. And then normally it was like 9:30, 10, up the steps we go, brush our teeth, go to bed. And like, it's a healthy end of the day, but it's still kind of like kids to bed, relax, like chaos, sleep. And I said, like, what a great way to end the day, to go into prayer and to thank him for the day, to help me prepare for tomorrow. And again, just like I love my wife and like I love my kids, but like there's really no one more important than God and Jesus when it comes to like our time on this earth, like that we've been gifted with. So like, who better to spend the end of my day with than he who gave me breath today and allowed me to do what I do and experience the joy and love that I get with my family because he blessed me with them, et cetera, et cetera. So right now I'm at a point where it's 10 minutes to start the day, 10 minutes in the middle of the day, 10 minutes to end the day for prayer.
Man, dude, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
What you just said right there is so important when it comes to the relationships with your wife, with your kids, because what I've learned is it's the triangle where God is at the top. And as you and your wife come closer to God, you come closer together.
Yep.
And that's the same with every relationship.
Yep.
Another thing I love that you said is God matters more than your kids and your wife. And now a lot of people might listen to this and they might hear this and they might think like, well, Clint, that's absolutely crazy. But God gave you your wife and your kids.
Yeah.
Like he is the one that was able to supply everything that we have around us. Yeah. So why not give grace and love to the Creator for what we do have, and able to multiply now that you have children. And especially in the world that we live in, I'm sure you're seeing it. Like we live in a broken world. Like kids are growing up in a broken world. We live in a broken world. I'm going to give you some stats real quick. 66% of Americans are Christians. 3% follow or know what a biblical worldview is.
Yeah.
So 3% of those 66% have opened up a Bible.
Yeah.
What are we following?
Yeah.
You know, like what are we looking at? What we're looking at is we're going to church and we're listening to a preacher or a pastor that might be preaching the wrong message.
Mm-hmm.
And then what people don't understand is the effect that has on generations.
Yeah.
Because that person is going to learn the wrong thing, then teach the next person the wrong teachings.
Yep.
And that could literally just destroy everything.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Do you attend a local church?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not, again, it's not every Sunday. If we miss it, we beat ourselves up or feel bad about it. But yeah, we go to a local church and I love it. Like it's the first time we went, and it's one of those, like they have a little, it's not a big stage and like big production, but like there's a band, like there's music on the front. And almost every time we go, I think every time we go, like I'm holding back tears. Like I feel good being there. And that's why I want to go. Not because if I don't, I'm screwed. Like I go there because like I feel really, really good in the presence of that building, those people, the message, and just God like working through us. So I love it. Yeah. And our kids go with us.
Are you still Catholic, or did you?
You tell me. I go to church. I love God. I love Jesus.
But yeah, exactly. The biggest thing people have to understand is like we have one God. Okay. Yeah. We have 330 denominations, which is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah.
There's 330 different ways that you can love God and split, right? So Limitless Faith Ministry, it's a non-denominational, like we have one God, we focus on one God, we focus on the Bible, we preach from the Bible, etc.
Yeah.
Man, dude, that's incredible. You have jumped so fast because like God works in people's lives in different, I feel like a lot of different ways. But when you have a conviction, and for what you have experienced, because what I find is that your testimony of you bringing God into your life can change the lives of others.
Yep.
But it's for somebody else to truly feel how God can change their life they need to experience.
Yeah. Yep.
And that takes what you're doing right now, the steps that you're taking, the steps of
For
prayer,
sure.
focusing on your faith. So let's talk about lead by example marketing.
Yeah, man. So I had Roda marketing with my younger brother for 13 years.
Yep.
Middle of last summer, I just started to get a different vision for what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. God being a big, like, kind of push in a different direction. I approached my brother about that. It didn't really vibe with like the vision and where he wanted to take things. So we decided to, part ways. Around the same time, I hired Lisa Marie, which it's worth every penny, but like the financial investment was a scary number for me. And I wasn't technically, on paper, we couldn't have afforded it, especially knowing I was going to walk away from my salary with Roda marketing and go like start back from zero on a monthly basis in terms of the money that I was making.
Yeah.
And we're not talking like start from scratch and have $1 million in our bank account, so we're good. Like, we're talking start from scratch, have a couple $1,000s in our bank account. Like, it's scary when I'm the sole provider of 6 people to feed on a daily basis, plus 2 dogs that are staring at me. But every fiber in my being was, this is the move you have to make. Like, this is a moment in time. And that's really why I hired Lisa Marie when I did, was because I knew a major change was coming. I knew a major change had to happen for me to live the best life that I could live for myself, for my family, for God. Like, I couldn't continue to just go down the path of comfort and complacency, and it's good enough and I'm happy enough. Like, I needed to really like thrive in life, and this was a pivotal moment for me. And I knew she would be pretty much like the only person I trusted to help me get through that. So it was like 3 months of figuring out like the details of what that business breakup looked like. And I spent probably 2 months trying to figure out a new name for the business. Mm-hmm. And for about 1.5 years, I've every morning, like religiously, I write down lead by example, lift others up, bring honor to God. Like, that's my purpose on this earth. That's my mission on this earth. And I was walking down the step. I had an LL. So the first name I was like, oh, that's the one, was Join the Herd Marketing. And I loved it. I thought that was it. Like, I had that logo designed. I had the LLC form. Like, I went down the rabbit hole. Yeah. And then again, by the grace of God, I found out that it was similar to some other companies, and there's opportunity for them to maybe come after me in the future for trademark infringement. Would it have ever happened? Probably not. But was it like a sign of like, maybe that's not the right name? I believe so. So I spent another couple of weeks trying to figure out like what the brand was meant to be and what I wanted to do with it. And I was walking down the steps at 5 a.m., like halfway down our steps, getting ready to get into prayer. And it was just lead by example marketing was like imprinted on me. And I was like, what, like, how did I miss that? Like, how did it take me 2 months to get that? And as soon as I heard it and felt it, I was like, that's it. And it's because I love, like, it's me as a person. Like, that's my purpose. That's what I write down every day. And it's been that way for about 1.5 years or 2 years of like, now that I know why I'm here. Yeah. So it's not just a name for a business. It's who I am. It's my essence. And then it's also what I want a company that I'm fortunate enough to operate in the name of them to be all about. So it's like, what does that mean? It means like you always go the extra mile. You always do what's right. Like, you always do what you say you're going to do. Like, all the, what I call basic elements of like good business, which so many people just don't do. It's right. Like those basic things, do them over and over and over and over again as Matthew Roda, but then also as the president of Lead by Example Marketing. Right. And if I do that, guess like I bring honor to him doing it. Like, it's bound to be a massive success, even if it takes longer than I want it or expect it to.
Dude, that's beautiful. Let me ask you this. So you had to make this huge change. You had to make this huge pivot. How much did you have to trust in your faith to make this next step? Because I'm sure when Lisa told you, hey, this is the move. Yeah. You were like,
oh, dude, I've resisted it.
You're absolutely crazy. What do you mean this is the move?
Yeah, I resisted it hard. And she'll be the first to say that. She's like, you looked for every reason to make it work. And I'm like, I know I did, because like I wasn't making a ton of money, but I was making like low 6-figure like annual salary, like enough to live a pretty good financial, like comfortable life. Right. And I was like, okay, you're going to walk away from that and go back to zero. Like, and Helen was like, are you sure? Like, she loves me. She trusts me, but she was like, are we sure that's a good move? Like, and I was like, I have to do it. Like, I have to do it. and I had no idea. And how much do I have to put faith in it? A massive amount then and a massive amount now, because the money that I got as part of the buyout was it didn't even match 1 year of my salary. So like it's enough to get by for a couple months, but like, it's certainly not like, oh, if I make no money for the next year, we're good. Like, it was like, that's enough to cover us for a few months as I build this new business from the ground up, like literally starting at $0 per month. And I said, like, I had the faith, I had the belief that January 1st would roll around. I'd start promoting it, wave my magic wand, and I'd have, 15 clients sign up, and I'd replace my income, and it'd be gravy train. And like, I knew it was the right decision. I knew God had my back, and poof, there it is. Magic. Everything worked out wonderfully for me. And that hasn't been the case. Like, I have wonderful clients, and it's growing, and I've got tons of relationships built and seeds have been planted, but it's nowhere near having replaced my old salary. And now the money that I got as the buyout went from this to this. And there's days where I'm like, oh crap, like it's running out. And then by the grace of God, I continue to say, like, I'm reading a book called The Soul of Money, which was recommended to me from Lisa Marie. And there's not enough time to describe the amount of transformation I've had in my life, even in the last month since coming back from our beach holiday with my family. But it's all connecting, man. It's all making sense. I'm now in a place where I basically know that I have everything I need on a daily basis, and that God always provides. And it's not, I used to say that all the time, like, I'm meant for abundance. Like, I know financial abundance is like meant for me, and I know I'm going to experience it. Yeah. And I appreciate what I have now. And I'd say the words, and I felt it to a degree that I did really appreciate what I have now, but I didn't really appreciate what I have now, because I kept connecting, when I get more, then I'll have the peace, then I'll have the calmness, then I'll have the appreciation. And it's literally been like the last 2 weeks of my life. Like, I'm not letting moments go by, like even little moments where like I pass my family upstairs in the living room, like go to the bathroom, come back down to work. Like, I'm making sure I'm spending 30, 60, 90 seconds with them, loving on them and pouring into them before I come back to work. And like, why? Because I have everything I need today, and I want to show God my appreciation for everything I have today, knowing that if I can steward that wonderfully and in grace, more will come. But if I keep saying, well, I'll be peaceful when I have, $1 million in my bank account. Like, I don't know if you've read The Soul of Money, but the whole gist of it is like, billionaires that are unfulfilled, they even believe I'll be happy or peaceful when I have more, even though they have what the common person would be like, you have more than enough. They're like, no, I don't, I need more. Someone with, a couple $1,000s in their checking account, it's the same as the billionaire. If you still think you need more to be happy, you need more to be peaceful, you need more to be fulfilled, you never can bridge that gap. And I've now, the last 2 weeks, really on some deep granular cellular levels, understanding that gap is being bridged and is like really close to being closed. And I mean, this week I've had some really cool business opportunities fall into my lap, and it was like weeks where nothing was happening. And I'm like, uh-oh, like my money's running out. Uh-oh, I'm not getting any new deals. Uh-oh, like, and now it's just like, no, like every day I wake up and one of my intentions for the day is like, recognize, like treasure the moments and recognize that you have everything that you need today to be the happiest, most blessed human being on the earth. And I do. Like, I have a happy, healthy family. I have roof over our head. We have food on the table. We have money in the account. We can pay our bills. Like, what else am I looking for, worried about? Why?
Dude, wow. Okay, but what you just spoke about is something that people battle every single day. Yeah. And you were in Apex with me, right?
Yep.
Were you in Apex?
Yep.
So you remember when it was like, you need to look at your bank account every day. You need to continuously look at your bank account. That number needs to keep going up. This is going to show you that you're doing something in the world. So that's what I always used to live off of, right? Like, if that number is not going up, then I am not worthy today.
Yep.
And bro, Limitless coaching, we were doing some $50,000 months, $60,000 months. Like, we were crushing it, but I was crushing it in a way where I could show everybody what I had. Mm-hmm. Dude, inside I was done. I was nothing. Yep. I was so empty. Yep. Now this is where I get real with you. In my bank account right now, I have negative $356.
Yeah.
Right? My Verizon phone bill is due. My car payment is due. And I have all these different things that are due right now, right? But I can promise you this, tomorrow, I'm going to wake up happy. I'm going to wake up with peace. I'm going to wake up knowing that God's got the plan. I'm going to wake up knowing that I get paid on the first regardless. But I no longer keep my identity in my bank account.
Yeah.
My identity is that I'm a child of God.
Yep.
And that I'm a gift and you're a gift. And like, if people could truly understand that, like that is what I believe, that when you get closer to God, you develop a true relationship with God. This is how you think.
Yeah.
But also people are going to look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because they've never experienced it before.
Yep.
How do you battle that?
Oh man. So what you just said, I read like I don't know, call it 15 or 20 like bullet point affirmations that I read each morning. And it reminds me of why I have the company that I have and why I do what I do and yada, yada, yada. Yep. I hand wrote down and then I've typed it up and reprinted it. So it's like more permanent. The second to last bullet point I have there is that my real wealth comes from the love that God and Jesus have for me and the love that they have blessed me with my life via friends and family, period. Hard stop. Like that's wealth. Like you could, and I've said this before and I mean it. But now again, I feel it is like you could, and I feel like I can't speak for everyone else. So I can't say it, but like, if you would ask me, I can deposit $1 billion in your bank account tomorrow, but I'm going to take away one of your kids, or I'll put 10 billion in your bank account, but you're going to be single and never have like the love and happiness and joy that you feel right now with a wife and 4 kids. Yeah. Like, how do I battle it? That like, to me, it's like, what am I treasuring and why? And like, if one would be taken away, or if I have to spend my time and energy focused on one of those things in life, because when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. Like, I'm saying yes to God and Jesus. I'm saying yes to my family. And then after that, I'm saying yes to the work that I get to do on this earth in God and Jesus's name, knowing that I have faith that they'll bless me abundantly if I stay true and in alignment with the two of them, my family, and then the work as a third piece of the puzzle.
So good. So good. You know, I heard this before. It said, you are too busy worrying about yourself to receive the blessing that God has for you. Mm-hmm. And then while you can't receive the blessing, you can't bless other people. Right. Yeah. So because you're so worried about yourself and your bank account and what you're going to do and how your company is going to do something in this world and how you're going to make the change in somebody else's life, you take all the focus off of God. Yep. And what I started to do, and it changed my life, is I have everything because of God. Yep. Anything and everything, every opportunity, any stage that I speak on, any podcast that I'm on, whatever it might be, it's all God. Yeah. So when people ask, Clint, how did you get to the position you are now? It's all God. Yeah. Then that sparks the conversation that maybe God needs to be brought into their life a little bit more. Yeah. And that's the most beautiful thing about that. When you truly get surrender to God, and I'm sure you see this on a daily basis, you probably speak about God more than you do your business. Hence
why those 2 pictures are behind me. Very intentional. Like my Helen, who I love and adore, but even she was like, are you sure you want that to be the first thing people see when they get on? Because I'm talking to clients, I'm talking to potential clients, I'm talking to like podcasts, like and my immediate answer was yes, because I want them to know that that's a major, major, major cornerstone of my life. And one of a couple things could happen. One, it sparks a conversation that they disagree with me. I respect that. It sparks a conversation where I love those posters. I wish more people spoke about stuff like this openly. Great. Let's connect on that. Or they look at it and they go, oh, you're one of those people. I don't want to do business with you. I love you and I respect you, but good, because if that doesn't resonate with you, then you don't resonate with me on that level. We're not meant to work together. Like, I'm glad it was like an easy decision for you, which makes it an easy decision for me. So no bad can come of those posters being back there is the first thing that people see. And I've 9 times out of 10, I was on a call yesterday and with a software company. I'm looking into utilizing some of their software. Made no mention of it on the call, sent me a follow-up email at the end, like, thanks for your time, here's a link, etc. P.S. I love the posters behind you. Like, I get that 9 times out of 10 of like, I love it. I love that you're willing to put it out there. Like, we need more of that in the world. And I'm done. I hid behind the veil of I don't really want to say my truth for long enough, especially like when COVID hit, like I bit my tongue a lot because I was getting, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, because you don't go along with the narrative. And it was just like, okay, like I don't want my business to suffer, so I'm going to shut up now. And when I transitioned from my old company to the new company, that was a very big piece of it, was like, I'm going to speak my truth 100% of the time without any regret or remorse. And actually the exact opposite, with like optimism and faith and fun, and what may be will be. And it's done nothing but bring blessings into my life.
That's incredible. And anywhere that you can put God into your life, I'm going to give you an example. I wear a jacket. This is God is always with me sometimes where I go places, and it creates such a icebreaker for a conversation.
Yep.
Actually, you know what, Matthew? What I'm going to do? I'm going to send you that jacket. You send me your address.
Oh, dude.
I'm going to give
awesome,
you a
man.
jacket. Then
I love it.
There's like, they have the little kid versions too. Oh, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. But it's a big jacket that says, it's not a big jacket, but it says God is always with me on the back of it.
Yeah.
So that anybody that comes up to me is like, dude, I love your jacket. And then it starts a conversation.
Yeah.
That could lead to business. That could lead to a relationship, whatever it might be. But people are so scared to speak on their belief. But you preach God like he's the center of your life.
Yeah.
I understand that now because, I was in that position before.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm like truly surrendered and God is the center point of my life, it irks me kind of. Like it hits my heart because like understanding what God can do in your life. Is that your dog?
Yeah.
Wow.
You hear him fussing.
Man, he's loud.
I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. But no, I love that, man. That right there says so much about your character. And
to your point, man, I think what we both are going to do here, and buddy boy, go lay down. And I already fed him, so I don't know why he's harassing me. I think both of us are saying the same thing here, and I'll put it as a challenge to people out there. Is I'm part of a couple of different groups where we, talk about the Bible, we talk about God and Jesus, and building the kingdom here on earth. And my challenge to all those guys always is like, yeah, we sit around the table with 10 other people that are wired like us, that believe what we believe, and it's very easy to have these conversations because we're with each other and we're contained in a room in the corner of a building. No one else sees it. My challenge is you don't have to put a poster behind you on every Zoom call, but like, what are you doing on a daily basis in your interactions to bring God into the conversation? Because, and again, no judgment. Like if that's it's way outside your comfort zone and you're not willing to do it for whatever reason, I'm certainly not the person to be like, well, then you're not doing a good job. Like, I don't know what their purpose is. I don't know what their plan is, like how God's working through them. I don't care to know. But what I'd say is, as stewards of faith, and like, if you really want to build the kingdom on earth, which is what I believe, like all Christians are down here to do, that's why I got my tattoo, "Thy will be done." Like, but that's our job. Like, that's our duty, is to bring him down here. And like, and that's not by sitting at your computer and like once in a while, like commenting like, yeah, God is good. Like, that's good. But like, how much content are you putting out there on social media? How much content are you putting out there when you're having conversations with friends and family? Like, you wearing a jacket, like you're walking into strange places with strangers everywhere. Are you willing to put God on your back and say, like, for better or worse, like, and whatever leads, like, it could lead to someone punching you in the back of the head. You don't know. Like, as crazy as the world is right now, you open yourself up to verbal and physical attacks by representing God. All that being said, it's like worth every second of it.
Yeah.
Because it's our job. Yeah.
Worth every second. And in the Bible, it says to disciple and to make disciples of all nations.
Yeah.
Right? So the biggest thing about a church is you're supposed to be discipled, and then the church is supposed to make disciple makers, right? Like, that way we can bring people closer to God and fulfill his mission on earth. And then we get into heaven for eternal life. Because anybody who's listening to this podcast, we do not live for the world. We live for God.
Yeah.
And when I tell people that, they like, "Clint, you're absolutely crazy. I don't know what happened to you. Something, is there a screw loose in your head?"
Yeah.
Be like, no, it's not. But when you truly understand what you believe in and study scripture, and you go into the Bible and you actually take your time and build a true relationship with God,
Yeah.
then you will know, not the lukewarm Christians
Yeah.
that are out there. Because there's a difference between a believer and a follower of Jesus.
Yep.
And it says you can tell by the fruit of the person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so your post went from shirtless pictures to now every morning you put a small tidbit of information. I don't know if it's a Bible verse or it's
from a devotional. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from a devotional. And you know what's crazy is, so your one picture, right, will get 75 likes.
Yep.
That devotional,
1, 3. Yep.
1, 3.
Yep.
But that's the most important information of the whole post.
Correct.
Right there, because somebody could read that, open their mind to something. God could show them something. And that's just like social media and what we watch nowadays. Like, I had this conversation with a couple men because I run a discipleship program with Limitless Faith. And I said, gentlemen, what you look at on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, what you look at when you walk outside, it all matters.
Yep.
Because your eyes will deceive you. You will go and look at something that'll then go to you looking at pornography. And then from there, you could literally have your whole relationship ruined, and you could be married for 10 years. Cause I know it's happened to multiple people that I know, that all because they wanted to look at some pornography.
Yeah.
All because they went to, hey, well, my wife's not giving me this, so I don't want to have the conversation with her. I just want to go and sleep with another woman. And no one's going to find out.
Yep.
But women are FBI agents.
Yeah.
They will always find out. And just don't do it. Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things.
Yeah.
All right. So Matthew, so what's new? What's next? What's going on?
I'm boring, I guess, because nothing. I feel like nothing's new, nothing next, man. I'm like day by day. Bring honor to God.
Let's talk about the company. Let's talk about like exactly what you do, because CRMs, automations, websites.
Our core competencies are new website design development and local search engine optimization. We can run Google ad campaigns. I have a guy on our team that does that, who's phenomenal at it. We do organic social media, so like the custom content, custom graphics on social media, just have like build the brand. But really, where we move the needle for business owners that we work with are new websites and then local SEO. Like, that's really our bread and butter.
Okay, so let's talk about how important it is to have a good website, because your website literally is the place where somebody will go.
Yep.
And if they don't like what they see in the first 3 seconds, I guarantee they're out.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's the website's the cornerstone of it all, dude. And if a potential client comes to me and they're like, hey, we want to run Google ads, or we want to do SEO, and we're thinking about spending thousands of dollars a month, can you help us? If I go to their website and it's like, I don't believe in it, like, and I've been doing this long enough to know, like, that's going to convert, that's not going to convert, I won't take the client unless they do the website first. And some people might look at that and be like, you're an idiot because it's monthly revenue you just said no to, or you're selfish because you're trying to get extra money up front with a website. And it's just like, no, I'm here to like get them results, because I always say, when my head hits the pillow, I sleep like a baby. When I wake up, I know like I'm ready to like own the day in a very good way, because I'm doing what's right for myself and my clients. So if I can't do what's right because they don't see the bigger picture, they don't have the expertise or experience to know this has to be done before this, again, I wish them well and I love and respect them, but they're not it for me, because I need to be able to, I use like air quotes around, control the process. But I'm not sending qualified visitors to your website if that website's not going to convert visitors into leads, because 8 months later, you're going to come back to me and be like, why did I just spend, $24,000 with you for SEO and I didn't grow my business? It's like, well, because I told you in month 1 that your website's not going to convert, and it proved not to convert. So I don't even want to go down that road, even for the money. It's not worth it. I have to sleep like a baby at night.
That's good, man. I just learned that, because Google gives $10,000 of ad spend to faith-based nonprofits.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah.
So we're currently in the stage of doing that right now.
Beautiful.
And the guy was literally like, bro, if your website is garbage, like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So like we're just going to create a funnel. I think that's the best thing right now, because one, websites are expensive. 2, I'm on a pastor's budget, as you just heard.
I get it.
But what I love about you, man, is you reached out to me and you were like, hey, whatever you need, to advance the kingdom, let me know. Like you were like, whatever it might be. And that's what I want to speak on with Christians, like true Christians, true believers, true people that follow God. Like they are selfless.
Yeah.
They are people that will give as much as they can to help somebody else because that is what Jesus did.
Yep.
And we are taught and told to model Christ-like behavior.
Yep.
When I was able to learn that concept, like I thought I knew that concept in Limitless coaching. I thought I did, but I didn't because I always expected a return from somebody. Like if I give you this, I know I should be getting something back.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you feel that change in your life as well?
Yeah. And I've always, I use always too much. For a long time, I've been wired to give and just like do the right thing without expecting something in return because I am a firm believer in karma or whatever you want to call it, that like doing the right thing, planting seeds and lifting others up is always going to come back in some form or another, whether it's financial win, love, like friends that love me, like a wife that, you know, 4 beautiful, healthy, like whatever it is, like I don't care where it comes from. But when you I just believe like you put good out, good comes back. And that's not to say like disaster won't strike. Like my dad died at 50 or 67 from dementia. Like that's disaster. Like, so some people might be like, well, why do all the good? Like death and bad stuff still going to happen. It's like, yeah, of course it is. That's life. Like we're human beings on like in a physical world, like that's bound to happen. But what I can control is what I'm going to control. And if I put as much good out as possible, good seems to find me. And it's not by coincidence.
You can steal this if you want and put it on your back wall, but I live by the acronym HOPE. Help one
Okay.
every day.
I love it. Yeah.
And man, dude, it's changed my life. And it could be something very small, a compliment, a wave. Hey, like today I gave access to Limitless Faith Kingdom Builders for free for everybody.
Yeah.
Just so people can get closer to their faith.
Yeah.
I want nothing from you guys except just go through the 16 module course and then take a look at it. Maybe something speaks to you.
Yep.
It's all about giving.
Yeah.
Also not being taken advantage of.
Correct. Yep.
Because this is what I learned. We become servants, but we can also become people pleasers as well.
Correct.
And that's where I had to draw the line to say, okay, God, this is for you, not for me. I don't want to be a people pleaser, but I want to serve with you at the front of it.
And I think you're able to, and I'm able to, and when you're tapped into God, it becomes an easier thing to do, is the discernment between when I give, it's for good, or when I give, it's because someone selfish is taking. And I've experienced that recently where it's like I call him a friend and associate. Like I helped with a couple things. And I was like, hey, can you jump on a call and talk my marketing strategy? And it's just like, and he's a good guy, but like, I could just sense that like, this is becoming a selfish take thing. So I said to him, like, I'd love to, like, you know, I'll give you a discounted rate on my consulting fee. It's X per hour, and crickets. Like, and I'm like, okay, like I love you and respect you, but like, if you can't honor that, like my time is also valuable. And this is like 3 or 4, like give. And now for the 4th time, I'm like, let's like make this a little more formal. So like, because he's not a client, never has been, like that's not where I draw the line in the sand. But I get that sense of like, if I keep giving, he may keep taking. And he's not, there's a difference between, let's say, and this isn't you, but like if you were like 3, 4, 5 times asking for something and I knew it was to build the kingdom, I'd be way more likely to be like, it can be 7, 8, 9 times. And I'm not going to be like, give me a consulting fee. But if it's for something that doesn't resonate with like building the kingdom, and it's kind of just like, help me so I can make more money, like cool. But like, then that's time I'm not spending helping someone else who's building the kingdom or growing my business so I can take care of my family. Like there's always that, if I do this, then I can't do this. And I have to draw the line at some point.
Yeah. So good. All right. Before you tell people where to find you, the last question I want to ask you is, if anybody that's listening to this could ask you in their walk with God, you know, they might be pretty far away right now. They're not really, really close to God. What would you tell them the first initial step for them could be?
I would suggest the same first initial step, which is what I made, which is just make an intentional time per day. It could be a minute, It could be 30 seconds. It could be 5-10 minutes. It could be with a Bible, without a Bible, but carve off some time per day. And in that time, this, like the simple words of like, hey, God, like, just know that I'm down here and I want a relationship, and see where it goes. Cause that's literally all I did. If you would have asked me 2 years ago when I started reading, 2.5 years ago when I started reading the Bible every day, if I thought 2.5 years later I'd have a different marketing company, that I'd go back to zero, that I'd have these posters up behind me on a call, I'm like, nah, you're crazy. Like, I just want to read the Bible every day, and like, I just want to. But that step, that intentional choice, has boom, 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 and you couldn't. I said to my friend today, like, hurricane winds could not knock me off the path that I'm on. Like, there's nothing that will knock me off the path that I'm on.
Dude, when you're living for God, there's nothing that can stop you. I say at the end of every single one of my services, I say, go out there and chase your dreams. Let nobody tell you that you can't do anything in this world, because with God, you can do anything.
Correct.
Matthew, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Where can people find you, reach out to you?
Yeah. I mean, on a business note, lead by example marketing is where we reside. And then on a personal level, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, just Matthew Roda, /Matthew Roda is a good spot to connect with me and consume content, connect. And just, I mean, it's almost pretty much every day I'm sharing some kind of faith post at this point. And like, if you're looking for shirtless pics, I'm not your dude.
Let's go. Are you coming out with a book soon?
I have no intention of it right now.
Okay. His book will come out soon. Don't worry, guys.
At some point.
All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you, joining us. Thank you for joining the Limitless Faith podcast, where we really speak about God and everything that we do. And tune in for more episodes with amazing people just like Matthew. And we're going to continue building God's kingdom. God bless you guys.
Awesome, man. Appreciate everybody.